Welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and this is the only podcast fighting off the zombie apocalypse. With me is the technician B.
Hi.
How are you today, B?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think I put you down as the technical expert on the game that I'm playing. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. So so I think that, and I forget what your you might be pessimistic. I think that might be
Sounds about right.
one of your traits. And then we also have the martial artist Ben.
Oh yes.
And I think I put yours is charming. I think, Ben. I think I put you as charming. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think I put mine as paranoid. So which probably fits for myself. So we'll be talking about the game Death Road to Canada. That'll be our game highlight when we get into that point. But before we get into there, first of all, let's just how are you guys doing? A little bit of icebreaker here.
Good. I'm good. Yeah. Tired.
Yeah, because you came back from the royal wedding, right? How was that?
No, I did not. I was visiting family. He's sadly not the royal family. But I got back in time for the podcast.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty wild, pretty crazy.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know how close you are to where was the wedding? In London, right?
Yeah, it was in London. I am a few hours away from London. I live up north.
Okay.
In Leeds.
Okay. And was it pretty crazy up there? I mean, was there celebration going on up there?
I mean, it's hard to tell because I was renovating the new studio on Saturday, so we was kind of out the way. And by the time we came back into the city centre, it was Saturday evening, so there's always parties on the streets in Leeds on Saturday. Oh. So it was kind of hard to tell.
So you couldn't tell if it was partying for the wedding or partying just because it's Saturday
just
night.
Partying hard, yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you made it back safely, and that you didn't party too hard at the wedding reception.
You.
Yeah. Ben, how are you?
Awesome.
Yeah. What's new? What's new with you?
I was at the royal wedding.
Yeah.
Flew back this morning. It was a real rough one.
Were you there for the groom or the bride? What side?
Yes. Yes, that one. No, but my wife did watch it yesterday.
Oh, she did.
So, yeah, she did. She likes that stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, my brother actually asked, "You guys watched the royal wedding?" Because he's in Poland, and I was like, "No, I didn't watch it." If I'm not invited, I don't care, They snub me. I'm telling you, they snub me. I'm going to be snubbing them back. So, yes.
Oh my goodness.
So, welcome to the podcast. Today we'll be having a GamerHeads Spotlight. So we'll go into that in a little bit here. We'll go into our news, and then we'll have our hot topic of the week. So why don't we go into... Jake's not here. Oh, that's right. I should mention that. Well, he is here, but he's not here. It's kind of weird. So Jake's having technical difficulties. I told him to go to Best Buy and buy a new mic. So he may or may not be joining us after the break. I'm not sure. Depending on how fast he can get to Best Buy, hook up the mic, and come back.
He's here in spirit, either way.
That's right.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Let's go into then the GamerHeads Game Spotlight.
This is the GamerHeads Game Spotlight.
So this is something new I'm going to try.
Death Road to Canada.
Yeah, Death Road to Canada. I'm going to try something new with the podcast. So one thing that I want to do is like every, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks, I want to highlight a game that I've been playing. And if you guys want to jump in, obviously you guys can talk about games, like highlight the game that you want to be talking about too. But this one I wanted to talk about Death Road to Canada. So this game just came out this past week. It's on the Switch, and I think it's on PC as well. And the game, imagine Oregon Trail meets zombies. That's basically what this game is.
That is awesome.
It is pretty fun. So I've been playing that. I've been playing that this past weekend. And so what's kind of fun about that game is that you can actually make your own characters in the game. And I made the podcast. So I made B and Jake and Ben and myself. And already, and I did make actually some other people that I know from other podcasts as well. I made the Controller Throwers, made their cast, and then I made the Real Dudes, Kyle and Carrington from the Real Dudes. I put them in the game too. So I started off with Jake and I, and we've been traveling along, and then a bee got into our car, and Jake tried to swat it, and then the bee went into his mouth and killed him, and that's how he died. So that was really kind of a terrible death.
Oh, I thought you meant bee killed him.
No, like a bee, like an actual, like,
Oh,
yeah.
see, that's confusing.
Yeah, so...
Like an actual bee
Yeah, no.
flew into his mouth and killed him.
No, it was an actual bee that went into his mouth and killed him. And then...
I was picturing bee like a fist, like...
You die now, Jake. No, it was an actual. Yeah. I know. Yeah. No, it was a bee, the insect, and killed him, stung him in his throat, and killed him. And then the next person I picked up was Carrington. I don't know why I didn't pick the next person on my list, but it picked Carrington as the next person that I found on the road. And then we got ambushed by a bunch of travelers, and he got killed from them. So now it's just me, and I need to find another person to travel with. So hopefully pretty soon. What?
Did I die too?
No. You haven't. Okay. I haven't found you yet. I haven't found you or Ben yet. Yeah.
If I get bit, I'd like to say right now, if I get bit, I want you to let me live out my happy zombie life.
Okay.
Do not touch me.
I will let you. Well, here's the thing. So, I've been playing this game for a little bit, and then I've been kind of playing different scenarios and playing different start-throughs, I guess, with the game. So, the way this game works is you start off, you get one character that you can either create your own character or you can pick a random character, and it gives you stats on your character, and then you could pick a buddy to drive along with you. So I started off with Jake, and then you're in this car. It's just like a side-scroller kind of thing where you just see your car driving along, and it gives you stats of what's happening while you're driving. So when we are driving, it might say things like, oh, you ate food, so your food supplies go down, and you used up so much gas, so your gas is going down. And it's just text that's going on. Yeah, so it's kind of Oregon Trail that way, right? And then you'll come across hey, you see a city up ahead. Sorry, I should step back. So the idea is that you're going from Florida to Canada because there's a safe place in Canada. So you're trying to leave the zombie apocalypse in Florida and drive through the United States to get to Canada to get to freedom. So you're driving along. You might see a city. It says, "Oh, you see a city. What would you like to do? Do you want to stop at the Y'all Mart instead of Walmart? The Y'all Mart." A gun shop, a supply store or whatever. So you can stop at these different places, and then you get into your car, you stop at your car, and you get out of your car, and you're just swarmed by these zombies. It's all pixelated kind of artwork too, so it's kind of cool. And then you just go around and try to collect different stuff. So you might collect gas, or you might find gas, you might find food, you might find weapons, you might find ammo. And then the idea is that you just want to get out of there as soon as get as much of the stuff you can and get out of there before you get overwhelmed with zombies. So
and eaten alive.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. So we stopped at one playthrough I was playing and I died almost instantly. We stopped and it was these they have this different modes, and one of them was survival mode. You're getting attacked by zombies and you have to survive just a horde of zombies coming at you. and I couldn't, and they surrounded me. When they surround one of your characters, I mean, they munch you. You're dead. I mean, it's there's nothing to do. So, yeah. So yeah, I've been playing that. You know, I will say, like, it reminds me, like I said, it reminds me of Oregon Trail and the fact that, you know, there's different texts that might come up and you can pick, like, what you want to do. Like, oh, there's, like, with Carrington's death, there's a bunch of people that are intimidating you. You find these people walking on the streets and they're trying to intimidate you. What do you want to do? You can either give them some of your food or you could try fighting them. And I said, well, we're going to fight them. And then they're like, oh, you died. Carrington died. I'm like, what? Then there's nothing you can do. You can't really fight them. It just, you know, gives you like a randomized response, right? And then you just continue on. But then there are places where you actually stop and then you have to fight the zombies and get supplies. And if your car runs out of gas, which has happened quite often to me, then you have to abandon your car and walk it and huff it until you find like a tunnel full of cars, and then you have to pick a car and get into the car and drive off. So, so I have not made it to Canada yet in any of my playthroughs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to play.
Yeah, and
it
it's not that expensive. I think it was like $12 on the Switch, so it wasn't that bad. It's getting good reviews. I will say the one thing that I think one of the fun things in that game is that you can make, like I said, you can make your friends, so you can make them look however you want them to look and name them and give them different stats. But the one thing that I will say, it is a little repetitive. So once you stop at like a Walmart and you get stuff, and then, you know, it's like, oh, the next place is a gun shop, and you stop there and it looks the same, right? And you just, it's kind of, I think it's procedurally generated locations, so there is a little bit difference there, but it does get a little repetitive. You're just fighting zombies, getting goods, and getting your car and taking off. I mean, but it's, you know, that's Oregon Trail, right? I mean, that's how an Oregon Trail was. You'd stop and hunt and get food and supplies and continue on. So,
do the zombies make noise?
No, they don't actually. No, they don't actually. There's no zombie noises at all. So, I was so surprised, but the music is actually pretty good. It was, I don't know if it was the music because I was at the mall, but it was like kind of upbeat, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice music, even though there's like surrounded by zombies. It's kind of fun. Oh, and then you can pick up different weapons. So the different weapons that I found so far, I found like shotguns and guns and such. But then like I found a femur, so I've used that for a while. And I was taking out zombies with a femur. Yes. I found a bone saw, which is pretty awesome. I've been using that recently. But yeah, so once you're, even if your main character, like, so if the leader of your group dies, but as long as somebody survives, you can make them the new leader, and then they would just find new people. Yeah, so
I get it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, like I said, it reminds me of Oregon Trail. I'm a little surprised that nobody has come up with this prior, because like it seems like a pretty no-brainer. Like, zombies meet Oregon Trail. That seems like a great idea.
Actually, it does.
I'm surprised nobody has come up with that sooner, but yeah. So it's on the Switch right now. It's on Switch. I think it's on PC as well.
Yeah, it's on Steam.
It's on Steam. Okay. Yep. So, B, have you seen any reviews for this at all?
I haven't. No, I can have a quick check.
I think it's been getting pretty good reviews. I should ask Ben, did you get a Switch or no?
No. That's going to be for next paycheck.
Oh, next paycheck. Okay.
Yeah.
But are you going to get this game, you think, if you get a Switch?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah.
I love zombie games. I do. I love zombie games.
Yeah. Yeah,
It seems to be getting around the 70 mark everywhere, so that's good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would probably give it an 8. You know, like I said, it's a little repetitive, that aspect of it, and I haven't made it to the part where I made it to Canada yet, so I don't know, maybe there's something there. But there's different game modes, and I haven't tried any of the other game modes. Like, one is just you're playing survival and you're just playing through. The next one is like you can actually take the characters that you created and have them show up in your game. And then there is like one where you can get random created characters where the computer offers you characters, but they could be really, really good stats or really, really bad stats. So you're not really sure what you're going to get. And then there's different, like, there's survival mode where I think you just play through and just survive as many waves of zombies as you can. And then there's, like, harder modes that you can play. I haven't unlocked any of those yet. So.
I would totally want to do survivor mode. I'd be doing that pretty much the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, I love zombie games. I do.
Wow. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'll be streaming this game, so if anybody's interested in seeing what this game looks like, you can certainly watch our stream, and you can go to our Twitch channel. It'll be GamerHeads Podcast. So it's twitch.tv/GamerHeads Podcast. So check us out there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on then to our GamerHeads News Flash.
The GamerHeads News Flash.
All right, and now we'll be talking about our GamerHeads news. So last week, B, I'm sorry, I cut you off last week because we were running out of time, but you had some.
And you're rude.
And I was rude. I'm just a rude person overall. I insulted your country, B, before we started on this podcast, and I insulted Jake. So that's just, that's how I am. Ben, you're next, by the way.
How you roll.
Yeah, that's right. So B, what you had some items here. Why don't you go ahead and go into those items?
I did. So I saw the rumor about the Persona Q2, maybe reveal or like announcement at E3 this year, because apparently they're working on it now. And I know you two have never played any Persona games because I just asked 5 seconds ago.
That was not on the podcast.
But it's kind of like you can get the Persona games, the new ones on the PS4 and the one before that's on the Vita, then the PSP. So they're kind of a mix of console and handheld, but this one's on the DS, which was kind of unusual.
Oh, really?
And it's RPG with kind of dungeon grinding. In all the games, you have like your relationship sim and friendship sim, and then you also have your dungeon grinding in between. But in this one, you actually have to kind of map out the dungeon as you go on your touchscreen on your DS. Yeah, so it was kind of different. I've not finished the first one yet because I think I'm about 30 hours in, and I don't think I've even really got past the first part of the game. It's quite a long game. The other Persona games are about 70 hours long each. I think I'm about 60 hours into the latest one, Persona 5. I've still got a couple of chapters left, I think.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm going to get Persona Q finished before the second one comes out either way. But I am excited to see what they do, because for the first one they kind of mashed up the two character casts from two of the games, 3 and 4. So I'm interested to see what they'll do with the characters if they make them Persona Q2.
Is it coming out?
Is
it coming out on the 3DS, or is it just coming out on like the Switch? I mean, is it gonna come out on the Switch? Actually, I should ask.
I have no idea. I just heard rumors that they were making it, but they're not so much the same kind of rumors that surround like Bloodborne 2. It seems to be a more solidified rumor that they're working on this one. There might even have been an announcement. I remember reading something about it. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I'm looking out for an announcement at E3 for that one.
Cool. So I should say I have played Persona 5. I played like 20 minutes of it so far. So
You like it so far?
I do. I'm not that far.
I know it's really hard to judge like a 70-hour game on the first 20 minutes.
So that's the other thing. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I typically play about 20 minutes of game and then I move on to the next game. So I have a really hard time beating a game. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I do have a hard time like sticking with the game. But no, I do want to go back to it. I just haven't. So, but I will.
I kind of do the opposite to that. I'll get a game where you can do side quests for 40, 50 hours, and then I'll do that. I did that with The Witcher 3. I realized I'd not even got past the first chapter, the first story point, and I'd played 70 hours, I think.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
That's why I never finish games.
Wow.
I managed to keep on track with Dragon Age Inquisition, but usually I go well off track, and then
Wow.
I'll never finish it.
How do you, so side note here, how do you like that game? I have that game, but I haven't played it yet. I haven't even played 20 minutes of it yet.
Which one? Which three?
Witcher 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition.
Dragon Age Inquisition is probably one of my favorite games of all time.
Really?
Really?
Loved it. I've played it through 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. At the time when I got it when it first came out. I was working retail at the time, and it's the only time, that and World of Warcraft actually were the only 2 times I have ever been late for work. Because I was just playing. I was looking at the clock. I was like, I should have opened the shop like
Wow.
5 minutes ago.
Wow.
I love Inquisition so much because it's such a big game, but I found it impossible to get distracted for the amount of time I did with The Witcher 3. It kind of pulled me back on track. It's a little more linear, I think. And I also love how the friends work. You'll have to make your big Inquisitor decisions, and if your friends don't like it, it will tell you, and next time you talk to them, they'll be a bit funny.
Wow.
Really?
It is so cool. It's like you can choose to execute or imprison people or set them free. And if you choose to imprison them, it will annoy the same people, the same friend every time because they're peace loving. And yeah, then they'll have a chip on the shoulder next
Wow.
time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it so much.
Wow.
In fact, I played it so much that Brett asked me to stop playing it.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay, I'll have to play. Oh, damn you,
So
B.
good.
I have so many games I have to play because of you now.
So good. Get it. It's so good.
I do have it. I just haven't played it. I have a stack of games. I don't mean to go off too much, but I have a stack of games that I just haven't played, and my wife is like, "Why do you need so many games?" I'm like, "Well, one day I might want to sit down and play that game. You never know." She's like, "But you haven't yet. But you don't know. I might want to play it." Cool. And then the other item here, the pink Mercy skin. Can you get into that?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. They released a pink Mercy skin in Overwatch, but also they did it to raise money for charity.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
For a breast cancer charity, apparently they were aiming for $250,000. And according to the news sites that I skirted over, they've raised almost $10 million.
Wow.
What?
If that's true, then that's amazing.
That is really amazing.
That's huge.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I mean, it's, wow. I mean, I'm surprised that more people don't do that. More game developers don't do that and just
I
add
agree.
additional things, for charity. I mean, because how much is that skin? Probably like a couple bucks, right? I mean,
The pink Mercy skin is more expensive than the other skins. It's $15, but that's because
Okay.
it was kind of the way to donate to their campaign,
yeah.
buying the actual skin.
Yeah. But I mean, still $15. What's $15 to somebody, right? But
Yeah.
how many people play that game? And you multiply that by 15. I mean, geez, yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, you would think,
Yeah.
you're right. You would think more games would do that.
Yeah.
Or more
yeah, for
developers
sure.
would do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Apparently, they were also raising money through the campaign over Twitch, and that money has apparently not been counted yet, so that's not part of the 10 million. Well, the
Wow.
almost 10 million.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how much they make and if any other game studios kind of follow suit with that.
They
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome.
Mm.
All right, so I have some other items here. So I don't know if you guys heard this, but Walmart, did you hear about some of the spoilers for the E3 games that they...
I would cry if I worked for one of these studios. Can you
Really?
imagine all the planning that goes? Well, can you imagine, although you can work things to your benefit, can you imagine all the effort they must have put into marketing, into advertising? They had everything ready, and then to have it leaked.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking, boy, think of all the money they're saving from having to do all the advertising because now it's leaked. Just kidding. Yeah, so if you don't want to know what games were leaked, you might want to skip ahead in the podcast right now because we're going to go over some of these games. So I'll give you a moment if you want to go ahead and skip ahead, probably like 10 minutes of the podcast. All right, so I gave you time to do that. So the first game here is Gears of War 5 becoming, that was one of the leaks for Xbox. I don't know. I never really played any of the Gears of War games, so I don't really care about that game.
No, I've watched them played. I have never played one.
Forza Horizon 5 or 4, I guess, but it said 5 accidentally, but it's really 4. So I mean, actually, none of these are really big surprises, but yeah, Forza Horizon 4.
I think they're all kind of games that it's taken for granted that there would be a sequel at some point soon.
Yeah. Just Cause 4. I don't know if you guys saw that. Have you guys played any of the Just Cause games?
Mm-mm.
No.
I have Just Cause 3 and 2, and I haven't played them. Yeah, that's, again, common thing with me. I have the games, I just never played them. Splinter Cell, a new Splinter Cell game coming out as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Really?
Are you serious?
Are you a Splinter Cells fan?
Oh, man. When it first came out, I loved it.
Wow. I've never played them.
Yeah. Really?
No.
Because I just think it's just unique. It's not about killing, really. It's just being more strategic and being in the shadows. I like that part. It was cool. It was different when it came out.
Cool.
Yeah.
A new Assassin's Creed game. That actually kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Well, because for a while there we were seeing.
What was the last one?
What was the last one?
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Was it set in Egypt, the last one?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Was it set in Egypt, the last one?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins. Yeah.
Origins. That's it.
Yeah. Have either of you played that game?
I'm not a big fan of the Assassin's Creed games.
Oh, wow.
I played like the first 3 or 4.
I played Origins. I will say it's probably the best Assassin's Creed game that I played.
It did look like the best one from what I've seen. The first 2, I think, played. It did look like a big upgrade from the first 2.
Yeah, it was good. I played Black Flag. That was my favorite one prior to Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Black Flag was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, being a pirate was pretty fun. But I will say, being in ancient Egypt, that was pretty cool. So that was a good game. Something new for Destiny 2. Did you guys play Destiny at all? Destiny 2?
Not
the second one, no.
I'm sorry, B, have you?
No, I played the first one.
Okay. I didn't really get into the first one. I played the second one. I beat the second one. I beat the story, the first story. None of the DLCs. I haven't gotten any of the DLC story modes, but I beat the story in the first for Destiny 2. I will say, like, it was really fun at first, but it got just kind of boring and repetitive, and just, I don't know. I stopped playing it. So, Lego DC Villains. That sounds awesome.
Yes. Anything Lego is awesome. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love the Lego games.
They are fun.
Dragon Quest Builders 2, which is like Dragon Quest meets Minecraft. That's basically what that game is like. Borderlands 3.
Yay.
Really? Okay. I mean,
yeah.
I know a lot of people are huge fans of that game. I couldn't get into Borderlands 2. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
I have to be very careful with them because I get really bad motion sickness very easily. So I can't play them for more. Well, I can play them for more than 40 minutes, but I have to kind of get the sick bucket to one side.
Oh, really?
You guys take some like Dramamine?
I can, but I shouldn't.
Wow. So yeah, I don't know. I never really got into the Borderlands games, but yeah, I know a lot of people really like that game. So those were the games that were leaked, and then they also leaked, but this was intentionally, and this is actually one of the news items here, the Microsoft Adaptive Controller. So that was also leaked too. So B, do you want to go into what the Adaptive Controller is?
Oh yeah, it's really good. We were talking about it earlier. The controller that's going to help, well, hopefully help people with disabilities to play games if they have limited mobility in their hands. You can also add, there's inputs for if you need to use your mouth instead of your hands to control. And I actually think you might have read a bit more on this than I have, Roger, but I read that there's going to be inputs for kind of flight sticks and everything, essentially whatever you want to add in. They've made it easy to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think this looks really cool and it sounds really cool. Super expensive though. Like, I don't know how people how you can afford it just on your own. I'm sure this would be a good thing for like hospitals and rehab facilities for people to, utilize the gamepad and utilize for I guess rehabilitation. But yeah, I don't know how somebody could just afford this, because I think it's like $200 is the base pad, but then each input costs money too. So
yeah,
that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, I can completely understand that it's probably very expensive to make them. But at the same time, it would be a real shame if there's something that's so amazingly accessible and it was set at an inaccessible price for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of one of those awkward things where, if they take too big a loss on whatever they're making, they're not going to be able to make enough to meet demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I'm surprised this hasn't, they haven't had one before. It's been, I'm kind of shocked.
I think that they tried. It just that this was the first one that actually is what it says it does.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it needs all the input, because if people struggle to play games, there can be so many reasons for that. And I suppose you wouldn't really want to bring out an accessible controller if it only made it accessible for people with one very specific issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to make it as kind of universal as possible for as many people who are struggling with more traditional controllers as possible.
Yeah.
I suppose that's why it's such a big piece.
Yeah. So that's cool. Do you guys hear about this? The NES Classic is returning to the shelves June 29th.
Yes.
I didn't hear about that. That's good, though, because lots of people missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do either of you have the Classic? The NES Classic?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome, B.
Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter saying that they just gone up for pre-orders. So I kind of yelled it out into the office, because everyone wanted one. It's up. So everyone jumped on it straight away.
Oh, okay. So everybody
one.
at the Oddworld office has got one, and nobody else did. Is that what you're saying?
I should point out, I was when I'm in the UK, I work out of the Fat Kraken studio, because they're all Leeds based too.
Oh.
So if I say in the studio, I'm talking about a Fat Kraken.
Oh, okay.
Not Oddworld.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't get one, but I don't know if I'm going to buy one. I bought a Super NES Classic, and I do have that. And you know how many times I've played it?
How many? 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah, pretty much actually. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I looked at the games on the NES Classic, and I'm like, wow, this looks really cool. But I have most of those games either in Wii Virtual Console or some other means. So I don't know. I'm hesitant to buy it.
I think that's the only problem when you have them all already. But it is kind of cool just being able to boot up whichever games you want and to have the old controllers. That's very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what if you have the Switch? I mean, isn't the Switch going to have all those older games too?
I don't
Well,
think it is, no.
no, I don't think so, Ben.
They're not?
No. So they're not doing a virtual console on the Switch.
No.
And I think partly being is because they're going to come out with these classic consoles so that way they can sell those to you instead of putting them on the virtual console.
Oh, man, those tricky you-know-whats.
I mean, in a way, like, I mean, yeah, that I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. But on the side, it's like, well, if I bought the NES Classic and then these games come out on the Switch, like, then why did I just buy a Classic? I guess, I don't know. I guess I see it both ways.
Yeah. Are they going to do a GameCube?
Well, that's rumors is that
Love that.
yeah, rumors are that the next one they did was a N64 patent. There's rumors that they're getting a patent for the N64 Classic. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And then.
Remember the GameCube that was so awesome. You remember that the Boba Fett game? Was it Bounty Hunter?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that game was unbelievable.
But B, how often do
Anyways.
how often do you play your NES Classic?
We don't play it all that often, but when we do play it, we'll play it like all night long. Like we'll binge it.
Oh, really? More than 20 minutes?
Gaming nights, yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite game on it?
I don't know, to be entirely honest. We'll switch between them so fast, and we've yet to finish one on there.
Yeah. I will say I do like the Kirby games on the SNES Classic. Do you have that 2B or no?
Yes, that's the one with Kirby Golf on, isn't it?
Yeah.
I forget which one Kirby Golf's on, but that's my favorite.
Yeah, my daughter and I have been playing that, and yeah, that's been pretty fun. So
that gets tricky.
Yeah.
Kirby Golf, really hard.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about the Monster Hunter World movie?
No.
Yes, it's gonna star. Oh my gosh, now her name slips my mind. The actress that was in Resident Evil.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Mila. What's her name?
Yes.
Mila Jovovich?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's also directed by the guy that did the Resident Evil movies, and she's going to be in this movie as well. And I think they're married, actually. So, there's that. So, I don't know. It seems weird that they're coming out with a Monster Hunter World movie. Like, I don't know. They're going to hunt monsters? This seems weird. It sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, yeah. It's not going to be an Oscar-nominating movie. There's no way.
The first Resident Evil movie, I thought was actually pretty good.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah. I thought the second one was decent.
Yeah.
But then it just got weird.
Yeah. Well, Resident Evil is kind of weird too. So.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I have here, that Tropical Freeze on the Switch has sold more units in 2 weeks than the entire lifespan it had on the Wii U.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so B, you and I were just talking about that the other day, that seems like they're coming out with a lot of games that they had on other systems, the Switches, and they're just like, oh, hey, look it, Tropical Freeze. Well, we had that on the Wii U. Hey, Hyrule Warriors. Yeah, we had that on the 3DS and the Wii U. Like,
yeah. I mean, like we were saying, everybody wants these old games on the new consoles because you want to play them again. Like we were just talking about how we wanted a virtual console on the Switch for the much older games. But I do also hope that they bring out more new games for it as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, if it's selling stuff like this, like Tropical Freeze, it sells more units in 2 weeks than the entire lifespan on the Wii U. I mean, that's just teaching Nintendo, guess what? We should continue to do this.
I think the Wii U was a kind of tricky one. With the Switch, you can pick it up and take it with you. With the Wii U, you kind of could.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, can I play this in, but is it going to keep cutting out? Can I do it? And is it portable? Is it not?
Yeah.
And I think people are much more likely to make impulse purchases or just take the plunge to buy things on the Switch because they know they can take it out if they want to.
Yeah.
Or just walk around the house with it.
Do you have Tropical Freeze, B?
And we have it on the Wii U. Yeah, we have it on the Wii U.
Okay.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, okay.
I did. I got frustrated with it about halfway through and never went back to it, but I enjoyed it up to the point. I will do that. I get very frustrated and never go back.
That happens to me too. In the first 20 minutes of a game, I'll get frustrated and I'll never go back to the game.
Up until that point, I enjoyed it very much.
In the new Switch version, you can play as what's his name, Funky Kong, and get through. No, not Funky Kong. Who's the surfer guy? What was his name? Was that Funky Kong? Yeah, right. No, is Funky Kong the older one? Anyway, you can go through the levels pretty fast with the new. You can do that on a Wii U too, but you had to buy it like as a DLC package, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it allows you. So Nintendo, the side note here, but Nintendo has been kind of trying to come up with games that have assist with their games, like the Super Mario Brothers Wii. It would have assist mode that if you died like 5 times, they'd be like, "Do you want us just to get you through this section? We can help you with that."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which I think is really good, but I also think it's frustrating when they ask you if you want it. And
Yeah.
you're like, fine. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
I can do this. Fine.
Shut up, Nintendo. I can do this.
What are you trying to say, Nintendo?
Don't judge me.
Stupid heads.
This is how I play.
And
Maybe I want to keep losing.
Yeah.
You ever think of that, Nintendo? Huh?
Wait.
I'm just so good at everything else. I just need to level it out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Gotta humbleize myself, if that's even a word. And then I'm like, okay, Nintendo, I'll take your help. Okay, I'll do it. So that's all I have for the news. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
I'm excited for getting my Switch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to get a Switch so that I can see you log in and be like, oh, Ben's playing a game.
Yeah.
Ding. Does it make a ding?
No.
It just pops up.
Yeah, it just pops up.
Did you see the previews for like some of the game, like the Mario Tennis? Did you see that for the Switch?
I did not.
Oh man, it looks awesome.
I heard good things about it.
Oh, I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah, see, it's funny because as much as I like a lot of the Nintendo's like their first party stuff, I really enjoy a lot of the indie stuff on Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot. Like Death Road to Canada.
Are you still playing Plantera?
Yes. And when we get into the games we're playing, I am going to like shake my virtual fist at you, B, because yeah, we'll talk about that when we get into the games we're playing, because I've been playing that game a lot. So, grr. Anyway, let's take a break here, and when we come back, we'll get into our hot topic. And this week, we're going to be talking about how streaming has affected the games, the way we play games, and the games that we are playing as well. So stay tuned.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, hey, maybe I should see what this Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage because you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode, I take a look at video games based on comic book properties and how well they stick to that source material. So, whether you know the comics and want to actually learn how these games work, or know the games and want to know what the hell is going on, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com, the Brain Trust Bros Network, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Carrington from Real Dudes Podcast, and with me I have some fantastic co-hosts. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
This is Andrew coming to you from Lynchburg, Ohio.
This is Cody coming from you also from Ohio.
And this is Kyle coming to you straight from the armpits of West Virginia. We are an indie gaming podcast. We all share a love for games. And you can check out our show on Podbean. Just search for Real Dudes Podcast. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, really any of the podcasting outlets that you like to use. Again, that is Real Dudes Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you love video games, you will love our show.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tyler.
I'm Lucas. And I'm Chris.
And we're better than Static. We meet up once a week and talk about movies, comics, and video games.
I don't want to talk about that.
Why are you complaining about all the topics I bring up? I'm trying to sound professional, Chris.
But we're not that good.
We are too good.
We may not be great, but we are better than Static.
You guys can hit up iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and YouTube to check us out.
Remember that feeling of playing an ultra-hard video game and dying? Over and over and over? Ah! Yeah, so do we. Listen to the Controller Throwers podcast on iTunes and Google Play. And check out the live show every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time at twitch.tv/TCThrowers. The Controller Throwers, pressing start since 1985.
So you've been listening to our podcast, and you've been thinking, you know what? I can do that. Yeah, you can. You can go through Podbean, our affiliate, and you can get 1 month free by going to podbean.com/GHPC. Podbean is what we use to host our podcast as well. On Podbean, you can host your podcast, and you can publish it there. It's actually quite simple to use. Again, to get 1 month free, you can go to podbean.com/GHPC. That stands for GamerHeads Podcast. Alright, thanks everyone, and back through the show. And welcome back to GamerHeads. I don't see Jake back. I think that he's away. So I think we'll just continue on. I don't think he's coming back. I think he's done. And this week we're talking about how streaming of games have affected the way we play games and also the games that we are playing. And we'll talk about if that's for the better or for the worse of things. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this little game called Fortnite. Have you guys heard of this game? No? So Fortnite has recently come out with a new mode called the Thanos mode, where there was like a meteorite that was like coming down onto the planet, and people could see it in the distance for the longest time, and nobody really knew what it was about. And then it came out that this was a Thanos mode, that there would be the gauntlet, and somebody gets it first, they can become Thanos, and then everybody has to fight them, and then they can get the gauntlet and become Thanos. And you know, it's a huge success, and people really loved it, and you know, it's just becoming such a hit. I mean, not just that, but just the game itself is becoming such a hit for streaming. What do you guys think about? Let's start there. Let's talk about, what do you guys think about streaming of games? What is your reaction when you hear like, oh, like this game's being streamed, or you see people streaming games, or your Twitter feed's getting swamped with people saying, I'm streaming tonight. What is your reaction? B,
sorry.
No, I was going to say, B, we'll start with you.
I think it's great to see how streaming is helping people to make friends and to find people who are into the same things that they are. It's like a strange new way to hang out with people.
Yeah,
watching people stream. And it's such a strange thing where you'll get streamers promoting each other, but it really doesn't seem to be because they know they'll get promoted back. It's like it's an actual community where people want to help people out, want to help each other out. Yeah, I think it's good. I know it's not for everyone to sit and watch someone else play a game, just like it's not for everyone to sit and watch someone else play football. Some people don't enjoy watching streaming, some people enjoy watching sports. But I think it's gone a long way with gaming being such a new thing and the gaming community as being such a relatively new thing. I think it's helped to kind of foster that sense of community in a place where it can often be very fractured and kind of tense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, do you watch a lot of streamers? Do you watch a lot of streaming games?
Yeah, occasionally. I'll watch. I like the older games. So, like, if some guys are playing, Rogue Squadron, like I would watch that. Some dude would have that, and I'd actually watch that. I'm like, why am I watching this? Because I'm so interested.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm watching it. Like, there must be something that is maybe a little bit nostalgic for me, watching somebody else. Like, I remember that part. I remember this. I remember that game. I remember playing that. Like, maybe that's a little bit of it for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually, so part of the crossplay compatible community, which GamerHeads is part of, a lot of us do stream games, and I've been streaming. I should stream more, but I have streaming a little bit. But I will say, there is something about the community and building a community and watching other people play games together. Like, I actually enjoy sitting down and watching, like, the folks from Controller Throwers play games and play through games, and just the banter that happens between, like, the people in the chat community and stuff. And even, like, with me, like, when I've been streaming games, sometimes I'll stream and there's, like, nobody watching, but, like, sometimes I'll be streaming games and there'll be just a boatload of people that will show up and, like, ask me a bunch of questions about the game, like what do I think about this, and, like, is it worth my money, and stuff like that. And I think that there is some value to that, where people can get a sense of what the game is like and kind of hear from other people what they think about the game before they go out and buy it themselves. But it is weird. Like, I was sitting with a bunch of parents once where my wife used to work, and we were sitting out at a social gathering. It was actually 3 dads, myself and 2 other dads. And we were saying, it's so weird that our kids will sit down and watch YouTube videos of other people playing video games, and they have that game, and they won't play it. They'll watch other people play it.
Exactly.
That's such a weird thing.
100%. I don't get it.
Yeah. Is it any stranger than watching sports on TV instead of playing sport?
Well,
no, B, you're absolutely correct. It's the exact same thing.
Really? I think it's different. Really, I think it's different because...
You think?
Yeah, no, well, here's the reason why. Because, like, I didn't go out and spend $60 on... unless I go out and buy them, like, cleats and helmets and stuff like that. But, I don't know. I feel like people that watch sports on TV, they're inspired by them, and they'll want to be like them and play the sports. I'm not sure if people watching other people play games are inspired by them to play that game. I think that they watch it and they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to play the game now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
So I do think though that there's some good aspects, like you said, about the social aspect and the fact that it kind of brings the world together, right? Instead of making it such a large world, it seems like such a small community, and you can find things that other people are interested in and find common ground amongst each other. I think that is kind of cool. But one thing that I was thinking about is how streaming has affected the way that games are being made today. And, like, I think about, Fortnite. So, Fortnite came out as a totally different game when it first came out. It was, like, you versus a horde of zombies, and you would build, like, forts to protect yourself. And I thought it sounded like an interesting game. And then PUBG came out, and it was such a huge success. And it's on the platform that Fortnite basically owns, right? That Epic owns. And they're like, well, we could do this. And they built, they made Fortnite into a survivor I guess, a battle royale kind of game. And now, instead of coming out with like new games, which I'm not sure if this is such a bad thing, but they'll come out with like things like I said, like the Thanos thing, where like now there's a Thanos mode that you can just play, and it's weird to me to think like how quickly devs can jump onto something, like, and how quickly they can switch to like a different hot topic or hot commodity like that so fast. But it makes me question like how much resources are they going to take away from that and something that they want to put in that, maybe a bigger game. And maybe this is the death of games that are like I hate this like use as an example because like World of Warcraft just came out and it's a huge success, but I mean games that people spend years developing. Maybe the movement now is more of like small increments and coming up with cycles that are much smaller. What do you guys think of that?
I think we'll definitely see a rise in those kind of games, but I think it's the same as when everybody suddenly realized first-person shooters were really popular. With the first-person shooters, where the point definitely wasn't the story, it was these short matches, and suddenly 90% of games seemed to be, or at least 90% of games that were marketed massively seemed to be first-person shooters. I think it's just people will go towards what is marketable, right?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing, but it certainly is a weird thing that, I mean, you just jump towards where the money is right now, right? And I don't know if that's, I mean, I don't know. I feel like people are going to to ditch their strategies in a way and kind of...
Nah, I don't think so. I really don't. I think you can have it both ways.
Yeah, I do think all this... Sorry, Ben.
You can have it both. You can have it both ways. I think you have those people who will always want to do the story mode. I mean, you're always going to have those people, and who will, ultimately also do the streaming and like Halo is a perfect example. I mean, the story is great, and the online play is fantastic. There'll always be room for the story mode people.
Well, okay, so B, I know you have something to say. I just want to jump in real quick. Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty game's not going to have a story mode. It's going to have just online battles.
I think
really
that was coming.
Yeah,
that would have been exactly what I thought was coming. But I do think there will always be those studios who someone could come up to them and say, "Look, do you want to make a first-person shooter?" And they'll say no. I don't think it's going to be the death of kind of story games like lots of people are saying it is. I think there's always going to... The world's so big now and game dev is so more accessible than it was before. I think there'll always be studios who will happily continue doing what they've always done or what they've always wanted to do.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I certainly hope so, and I certainly hope like story-based games are going to continue. But I do feel like a lot of studios are now looking for how can this game be viewed from a streaming standpoint, and how can a community be involved with that? Like I think of that game like Hello Neighbor. I think that was that the name of the game?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
B, have you heard of this game?
No, I don't think so.
So wasn't this the premise of this game like you break in your neighbor's house and you kind of like steal
you look for stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they made it.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ben.
Well, the premise is that you're across the street from your neighbor, and he's kind of a weirdo, and you go and you look, you try to hide from him, and then you look for different things. But it's addicting. It's totally addicting.
Really?
But oh my goodness. Yeah, it's addicting.
I heard.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think until my daughter was playing it. I'm like, what are you playing? Hello Neighbor? I'm like, oh. And I'm like, just watching her play. I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. It's cool.
I heard bad things about the game, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it's award-winning or anything. It's really dumb. But I can see the jump scares are what the kids like.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's going for things that will make people like react, right, through streaming, right? And get the reaction. And I don't know. I feel like
It's like that stupid Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Like that game.
Yeah.
It's just a jump scare game.
Yeah, it is a jump scare game. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my concern is that, or even like Friday the 13th, the new Friday the 13th game. I mean, that game was totally designed with the thought of that people are going to be streaming that and sharing that stream. So, I don't know. I feel I guess my concern is that, people are going to start going away from, like, how can we make a game that will be, in depth? I mean, we still, you still will have those games like God of War and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm a little concerned that people are going to just be like, well, how can we make the game that are going to be, people are just going to watch it and be like, whoa, that was crazy, and whatever. I don't know. Like, even the
Do you think a lot of it though is age related?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean, of course, a kid is going to like Hello Neighbor. A kid is going to love that. But eventually, you'll get sick of it, and you'll move on when you get older. You know what I'm saying?
But that's also my concern. These games that are coming out, it's going to be just about short attention span, and about the games that you can play for, like an hour or two. Like even Death Row to Canada, it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but I can't see myself putting in hours and hours and hours into that game. I think it would be a fun game to stream and certainly like have people reaction to it. But beyond that, I can't see myself playing, 400 hours like people have played other games.
Yeah, 20 minutes, about it.
Yeah, 20 minutes. I don't know, Beav, what are your thoughts on that?
Now you've said it like that, I was wondering if people are always saying that attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. And if that is true, then that's an entirely separate issue. But if that is true, then perhaps that is one of the reasons why streaming is so popular, because attention spans are getting shorter.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird to think about how, even the game, like, what was that one with their prison escape? I want to say just the two of us, but that wasn't it.
I know which game you mean. I can't remember what it was called, but I know what you mean.
But that game was A Way Out. Thanks, Jake. Yes, thanks, Jake. Jake's listening. Jake, if you are available, jump on in.
Jump on in, Jake. Jump on in.
Okay, I can't hear him. But anyway, A Way Out. Thanks, Jake. A Way Out, where this game was designed for you and your friend to play, and I really think that they designed it for streaming, because really, you play through that game once, and there's nothing. There is absolutely no replay value whatsoever to that game. And it doesn't sound like a very long game. I will say the one thing that's nice about that game is that I could buy a copy, and B, if I wanted you to be the other person playing with me, I could just say, here, log in, and you get the game for free. You don't have to buy the game.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if more studios are going to be going that way of thinking, hey, let's think about how this game will be streamed. Let's think about how people will consume it through the streaming, and let's build the game, with that in mind. I think that would be a bad thing if people started doing that, and maybe that's not going to happen. But
I think B's right. I think the attention span thing is a different issue altogether that the gaming industry is just tapping into. I don't think it might last a while, but again, if the attention spans are going so fast, it's a different conversation. It's like, why is the attention span so minimal?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a different conversation altogether.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other final thoughts on streaming? If it's good, bad, indifferent?
Well, I think it's done good for the gaming community, even if you're not a big fan of it personally. I don't watch streams very often at all, but I think it's done a lot of good for gamers individually.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's cool.
And if you want to watch our streams, you can go to twitch.tv/GamerHeads Podcast, where we do stream games. You can also go to the crossplay compatible Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/crossplaycompatible. And there you can follow different podcast, Controller Throwers, Play Comics, Better Than Static, Real Dudes, Cake Bites, ourselves, the Gamerheads, and and different groups do stream different games, so you can check that out there. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that it can be used as a force of good. Just hope that games will continue to, show some depth instead of just focusing on just short little matches and games. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so
we should have our listeners comment on what games they'd like to see us play streaming.
Oh, that's
maybe.
a good idea. So if listeners, if you want to let us know what games you want us to play, you can reach us at Twitter. You can go to GamerHeads PC and let us know what games you want us to stream, and we will try to make your wishes come true. But we're not Disney, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to make all your dreams come true, but we'll try.
Please don't pick games that will make me puke.
Yeah, don't pick games that will make me puke. Let's go around and talk about what games we're playing. Ben, why don't you go ahead and start? What games have you been playing?
Like I said, my daughter, who is 9, we actually started playing We're in the World of Carmen San Diego.
Yeah. And how is that? What are you playing that on?
It is so fun. It is so fun.
What are you playing it on?
Those old games on the computer.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, on PC. But it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm playing a lot of the PS2 games because I found all those PS2 games.
Yeah.
So I started playing what is it? I can't think of it now. It's a Donkey Kong game.
Oh.
Donkey Kong with his son.
Tropical Freeze?
I can't think of the name of it. Yes. Is that it?
No.
Is that it?
No.
I was like, what? I can't think of the name of the game right now, but it's a Donkey Kong game. That's fun.
Okay. Is it Donkey Kong Country? It
could be.
But that's not on PS. Well, that's not on PS2. I don't think any Donkey Kong games on PS2, right?
Yeah, there is.
There is?
There's got to be.
Okay, Ben, you got to find out what game that is because I have no idea what game you're talking about.
No, me neither.
Was it Donkey Kong Junior?
Junior. It had to be. It's something.
Donkey Kong.
Now I gotta go look. Now I'm looking.
Okay, Ben, you go look. B, what have you been playing?
I've only really had time to pick up and play games this week, so I've been playing Plantara, which I was telling you about last week.
What level are you right now?
25, I think. 27.
Oh, I'm catching up.
And I've also been playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I'm really obsessed with it right now.
Yeah.
But I think I've got really into the designing my camp.
Oh.
So I think I'm actually going to pick up Happy Home Designer because I don't have that.
Wow.
Yeah, I really want that now. So that's opened that doorway.
For the 3DS?
House design. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I've already been playing.
How much money have you spent on the camp one?
None.
Oh, really?
None at all, no.
Oh, wow. Because I that's one thing I heard that there was one complaint that there was a lot of microtransactions in that game, but you haven't spent any money.
No, you don't need to spend any money at all. There'll be times where you don't have anything to do unless you wait or pay tickets, but then I just go and arrange my camp some more. You can always arrange your camp.
Oh, cool.
And change it up.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll...
Yeah.
My wife really loves Animal Crossing, so maybe I'll have to get her into that game, because she loves Animal Crossing.
It's not got anything on the full Animal Crossing games, obviously, because it's just a free-to-play mobile game, but it's still... essentially, you got your camp, and you've got all the Animal Crossing characters who will come and you can invite them, but then you have countless options of you can craft whatever furniture you want, and you can arrange them however you want, all these combinations, and you can kind of theme your camp to what style you want. You can do anything with it. And that's where the fun is. I think you have to like that to be into the game, the whole design aspect.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that game out.
Yeah.
I've been playing Plantera as well.
Yes.
Every time I pick up my Switch, I start playing that game, and I think to myself, God, this game is like not that hard or complicated, but it's super addicting, and I don't know why. But I think I'm like level 22 now. But so yeah, I have like 8 dogs that are roaming my fields to make sure like no animals steal your fruit. But really, it's like a super simple game that's super addicting, and I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, I've been playing more than 20 minutes of that game, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I want to switch so bad now.
Like, it is super cheap. It was like $3, so I was like, all right, I'll just pick it up. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. I also picked up, this is so bad, I picked up Hyrule Warriors for the Switch, which I already had on 3DS, but I've really enjoyed that game. B, you have that on...
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Do you have that on the Wii, right? Or the Wii U, right?
On the Wii U, it's not mine, it's my partner, Brett. Okay. He plays that. He's got it on the Wii U.
Okay. Yeah, that game's been pretty fun. I will say, though, it was really hard to drop $60 on a game that I already own on another platform, but I play my Switch all the time, and I'm like, I will say it is better than, I had it on a 3DS, and it is better on the Switch than it is on a 3DS, so, but, yeah, it's kind of annoying. And then Death Road to Canada.
How long is when you take the Switch with you, how long is it, the battery lasts usually?
Like, what, 2 hours, B, right?
Maybe, yeah, sometimes a bit more. I've had it, I think it can last 3 or 4 hours, I believe.
Depends on what game you're playing. If you're playing Plantera, you could probably have it last like 5 hours.
Yeah, I was playing Oxenfree. It lasted almost the entire game when I was playing Oxenfree.
Oh, really? How was that game? Do you like that game?
I loved it.
Okay, I'm
proper loved it.
Okay, I might have to get that game too.
Which one is that? What game is that?
Oxenfree. It's I call it a narrative game, like a walking sim.
Okay.
And
it's really good.
And it's a horror game, right?
Yeah, it's actually the only game outside of obvious like Amnesia and Five Nights at Freddy's that actually frightens me. It's a great game.
Yeah. I will. I gotta get the Switch first.
Yeah. Well, it's as Jake says, it is also on PS4 as well. So I mean, it is on. It might be. Well, it is on the Xbox as well, Ben. So, but I don't know. There is something about having the games on the Switch versus having them on my other consoles that I just find it a lot easier to play. So.
Well, I'm getting a Switch regardless.
Jake was saying that it's unlimited run games. How did I not know that?
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
Crazy.
Well, it was. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing me what I can't have, Jake.
Thanks, Jake. So one last thing before we go, why don't we go around and tell people how they can reach us, and B, we'll start with you again this week.
You can find me on Twitter. My handle is B_Wakefield.
Great. And Ben?
Yes, I am also on the social medias at BenSurratt24 on Twitter and Facebook, Ben Surratt. Look for the Chicago Cubs hat.
Yeah, I've gotten crap from the real dudes about you being a Chicago Cubs fan, so.
Well, that's because they're from Cincinnati.
And there was like wasn't there a fight the other day from Cincinnati and
yeah, it was
Cubs?
awesome. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. This is why being a Brewers fan, they don't really care about that kind of stuff. So because
if I can, sorry, Roger.
No, go ahead, B.
I was going to say if I can deal with all these Hufflepuffs, then you guys can put aside your differences with your swords.
B, that was a shot straight to the heart. I'm a Hufflepuff. My wife is a Hufflepuff. My brother-in-law is a Hufflepuff. My niece, his daughter's a Hufflepuff. You have insulted the House of Hufflepuff.
Yeah, but Hufflepuffs always forgive.
That's true. I'm very
Very
forgiving.
true.
That's true. You can get a hold of GamerHeads. You can get a hold of us at GamerHeads Podcast, GamerHeads PC on Twitter. You can get a hold of us on email at GamerHeadsPodcast@gmail.com. And on Facebook as well, GamerHeads Podcast. So you can go to facebook.com/GamerHeads Podcast and let us know what you think. We're probably more active on Twitter.
What games we should play.
And what games we should be playing, yeah, and streaming. Because I think both of you showed interest in streaming games, and streaming games as well. So, so let us know what games you want us to stream, and we can certainly do that for you. All right, so thank you so much for listening, and for B, Ben, and Jake, who's not here, and myself. Thank you so much for listening, and GamerHeads out. Actually, I'm gonna take a quick break here since I clapped. Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear the washer running or no? Can you hear it humming?
No.
Okay. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's fine.
I don't hear anything.
I'm at my parents' house, so they're doing wash, and I'm stuck in their basement. So. All right. Well,
Roger, you are not in your parents' basement right now.
I am at my parents' basement. I know. I really am. I really am, Ben. I really am.
Talking about video games.
Talking about video games. I know.
Exactly.
I'm in my parents' basement talking about video games right now. Mom, be quiet. We're trying to talk about video games right now. Can you stop doing wash?
Mom, can you get my sub?
Yeah. Can you bring me down supper, please?
Meatloaf! Mom! Meatloaf!